And we're live. Welcome back to the J Star broadcast. So today we're going to be watching a video. We're going to be watching, and I'm very excited to tell you that we are watching Actual Justice Warrior, who has actually uploaded a video for once. God damn, it's been so long. It's been so long. I'm looking back now, and damn, he hasn't uploaded a video in over a week. Which isn't too strange. I mean, you know, I've certainly had my hiatuses before. But it's just weird because never made a statement, nothing that I saw anyway. Oh, I take that back. I didn't see that. He uploaded 2 days ago. My bad. But before that, he wasn't posting for exactly 1 week. Huh. Yeah, and it was strange. He stopped posting right when the Trump and Epstein stuff started. Yeah, I don't know. That's a real head scratcher.
This is the moment.
But hold on, I want to look at something here. When did he stop uploading? Yeah, about a week. And he has been completely silent about the Trump-Epstein situation. And I've noticed, me personally, a lot of them have been. They've been quite quiet about it, in fact. Now, I know that the Sydney Sweeney thing is like a hot topic, but I'm sorry, leftist. I don't care. I don't care, man. I don't give a fuck what Sydney Sweeney's doing. From what I've seen, like, it just looks like she took some photos in some jeans, and a few leftists made a big deal about it for some reason. Probably complicated and or stupid. But anyway, either way, the right wing picked up on it. They really wanted to, like, they've been reporting on this shit nonstop the past couple days. I think Nuxanor made 2 videos about it. Leaflet made 1 or 2 videos about it. And now this guy's got a video about it from a couple hours ago. Yo, why are they talking about something that is so trivial in a time like this? I wonder. I don't know. Anyway, let's go.
This is the moment DHS says an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer is ambushed and shot late Saturday by a man with a deportation order. Authorities believe 2 men who approached on a scooter were attempting to rob the 42-year-old officer who was in a park with a friend.
Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and I am officially back from my vacation to...
Okay, he was on vacation, okay. I like it how when you come back, you immediately are like, let's make a video about the Attorney General talking about, you know, the lawsuit and stuff. I presume that's what this is all about. Because, for those of you that don't know, the current Big Beautiful administration is suing the city of New York because it is a sanctuary city. And of course, at the beginning of this video, so this guy comes back from his break, and immediately he makes this video, and at the beginning, he puts a couple brown people committing a crime. Oh, look at this! Look at these evil brown people, immigrants, committing a heinous crime. They're evil.
to the nation of Ireland.
Fucking
And
piece
while
of
I'd
shit.
love to tell you about all my adventures and misadventures in both Ireland and Northern Ireland, which are two different countries, for
Dripping the
those of you
color and
who
be
are
more greener
dumb
than
idiots
Ireland.
that don't know that, I have to talk about something
real
that went
ones know
down
about
in
the
my
IRA.
home city, New York City, while I was gone. And of course, this was two
Welcome
illegal
back, man.
aliens committing an armed robbery against an off-duty Customs and Border Patrol agent, during the course of which robbery
Yo, it
they
was an
ended up
ICE
shooting
agent?
him in the face and in the arm. And of course, all of the crimes and all of the things that led up to
God
this
damn.
that could have prevented this from occurring, because it turns out both of these illegal aliens entered the country illegally under the Biden administration. Both of these illegal aliens had multiple different arrests. One of them even had convictions to his name, final deportation orders. But guess what? None of that mattered to the sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that were protecting them. And this is why a Border Patrol agent nearly lost his life in such a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends. And what it depends on is what the nature of those crimes were and what the evidence was against them. The idea that our courts are reviewing cases and then they find out that the person is an illegal alien or even like a legal immigrant, and then they're letting them go because of that is an insane conspiracy theory. Yes, immigrants commit crimes. Americans commit crimes at a far higher rate, especially when it pertains to violent crimes and drug offenses specifically, which is funny because those are two crimes that people often attribute to illegal immigrants or just brown people in general. But no, just because somebody was like let go doesn't mean that it was gross negligence. Okay, sometimes people are arrested, and I would argue quite often people are arrested with very little evidence against them. Sometimes they get a conviction anyway. Sometimes the charge doesn't stick. That is the nature of our court system. But my point is it doesn't favor illegal immigrants. That is insanity. It's pure delusion. It is pure fucking delusion.
Robbery, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Two senior law enforcement sources say it appears to be a random encounter. The alleged shooter, identified by police as Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez of the Dominican Republic. New York City's police commissioner says he approached the officer from behind, and that's when the officer drew his service weapon.
The perp fired first, and an exchange of gunfire followed. The officer was struck in the forearm and in the face.
Mora Nunez was taken into custody after going to the hospital to be treated for his injuries.
So I've actually seen a lot of right-wing media covering this story and
Wait, is he
covering the
alive?
media's coverage of this story and calling them out
Damn.
for not having headlines that included the fact
Man got
that this was
shot in
an
the
off-duty
face.
Border Patrol agent who was shot by two illegal alien robbers with final deportation orders. And I just want to say right off the top, I 50% agree with this criticism. It is absolutely crucial that you include in the headline that the two suspects for this alleged crime happen to be illegal aliens with criminal histories with final deportation orders, and that of course they were being protected by New York City and New York State, and of course by the state of Massachusetts, as one of them is also wanted for crimes in that sanctuary state. That being said, I actually don't think it's all that important to highlight the fact that this person worked for the CBD, and the reason why is because according to the NYPD police commissioner and every single agency that has examined this does not appear to be a targeting of this off-duty Border Patrol agent due to the fact that he was an off-duty Border Patrol agent. He was just a man who was hanging out with a woman in a park in the United States of America, a regular, ordinary American.
No, not a regular, ordinary. Just because he was in plain clothes doesn't mean he's a regular, ordinary American. No. What was he doing there? What was this Border Patrol agent doing in New York City, I wonder? Yeah, I don't know. That's a real fucking head scratcher. I don't know. No, I mean, look, maybe he wasn't there for work. Maybe he was there visiting family. I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. The events that unfolded are the same. Okay, it changes nothing.
Consider
what I'm saying.
To these criminal robbers, and he was targeted for
Even if he had been like actively arresting these two illegals. Even if he were like a deportation officer in his uniform arresting these two motherfuckers, wouldn't change anything, okay? They still shot him.
Armed robbery, shot in the face and shot in the arm while enjoying the things that his country have to offer. This is a case of a regular, ordinary American citizen who is seen as a sucker, as a victim by these criminal illegal aliens, not people who are doing this for a political motivation or to get change in terms of policy and whatnot. And I think that is absolutely 100% the most crucial takeaway, which is this could happen to anyone. These sanctuary city laws could negatively impact each and every one of us as we are enjoying our day-to-day lives in New York City. And in fact,
yeah, I mean, yeah, look, you could, a fucking bomb could drop on your head, okay? It doesn't mean it's gonna fucking happen. Like, the odds of you being the victim of a violent crime are astronomically low. And the odds of that violent criminal who is victimizing you being an illegal immigrant is even lower. But I can guarantee you that in the event that it does happen, however unlikely it is, you will be martyred by the federal government, and they will ruthlessly kill brown people for what they did, for the crime of murdering you, okay? They will exact cruelty upon innocent people in your name because you were murdered by, you know, some allegedly illegal people, some brown people, okay? That's what's gonna fucking happen. But again, the odds of that happening are so fucking low. Like, that's why I hate it when motherfuckers like this. Like, this guy isn't even Fox News, okay? But he's doing this. Like, I hate it when these motherfuckers fearmonger like that. It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking dumb, and there's
had
no
this not been a Border
actual
Patrol agent,
logical
he would
basis
not have
for
had
it.
his service
No
firearm
foundation
on him at the time that this crime occurred, because New York City heavily restricts firearms for law-abiding citizens, and he would have been at the mercy even more so of these armed criminals who, of course, decided to ambush him in his own country because they wanted something for him, and they don't give a damn about America. All they cared about is their instant gratification. So everything after that, where we hear about their criminal history, is definitely something to be remarked on, but the fact is, this could have happened to a regular ordinary...
You are so fucking stupid. No, that's not how it works. First of all, if you're a federal agent, including ICE agents, if I'm not mistaken, you can take your gun to any state. You can bring your gun wherever the fuck you want. You're a federal agent. Like, you can have your gun, bro. At least if you're there on business. Okay, if you're there for police work. But even if you're not, it's not like they're gonna search you. It's not like when you enter New York, they fucking search you and make sure you're not armed or something, or you don't have a firearm in your vehicle. They don't fucking do that, okay? You can bring a gun in. And, furthermore, if you are an agent, if you are working in the intelligence community, if you're an ICE agent, and you shoot someone, you end up using the gun, what the fuck makes you think you would be prosecuted for it? Okay, like, you're not, okay? My point is that if you're a federal agent, you can bring your gun to New York, okay? You can.
American citizen.
You can do that.
And again, had it not been for the fact that he wounded one of these guys and sent him to the hospital, they would be out robbing other people to this very day.
Wait, so he was armed? I thought he said he wasn't armed. Am I stupid?
Something for him, and they don't give a damn about America. All they cared about is their instant gratification. So everything of these armed criminals, who of course decided to ambush him in his own country because they wanted something for him, and they don't give a damn about America. All they cared about is their instant gratification. So everything after that, where we hear about their criminal history, is definitely something to be remarked on. But the fact is, this could have happened to a regular, ordinary American citizen. And again, had it not been for the fact that he wounded one of these guys and sent him to the hospital, they would be out robbing other people to this very day.
Authorities confirming he had previously been arrested for domestic violence, robbery, assault, and was wanted in Massachusetts for kidnapping. President Trump saying on Truth Social that Mora Nunez was apprehended at the border in April 2023, but instead of being deported, was released.
So of course, unsurprisingly, these people entered the country under the Biden administration. They even lost their chance for asylum, which they were fraudulently claiming under the Biden administration. They were issued final deportation orders, but despite that, they were arrested multiple different times for domestic violence, for stabbing somebody in the month of January, and of course, a whole host of other crimes. And while this local news segment only breaks down the crimes of the shooter, or the alleged shooter in this particular instance, make no mistake about it, the other individual had...
Okay. Like I said, they do not arrest... Look, in America, you have rights. You have right. I know, shocking. I know. And in fact, even if you're an illegal alien, you have rights. It doesn't matter that you're illegal. Okay, it doesn't fucking matter. If you're in the country, you have rights. And one of those rights is a right to due process. You have a right to a fair and it's supposed to be speedy trial. It's not always how it works out, okay? But anyway, if these guys were arrested, okay, they were granted due process, as is required by our Constitution, and the evidence was presented either to a jury or a judge, and a ruling was made. That's what happens. And what I'm trying to communicate here is that when a person, whether they're a citizen, illegal, it doesn't matter, when they go to court and they have their trial, they are found guilty or not guilty based on the evidence, not on their fucking citizenship status, you dumbass. That is not a consideration in in ruling, in sentencing. It's just not. It just isn't. So if they let them go, it was highly likely because of a lack of evidence against them. That's it. It's not because they were illegal. Again, these people, I think they actually think that these evil democratic people in positions of institutional power, they're just capturing these criminals that do these heinous things, and they have all this evidence for it. They have all this proof that they did it. But then somebody's like, wait, this person's illegal. We gotta let them go. We gotta let them go. It's a sanctuary city. That never fucking happens. A sanctuary city, all that means is that, my understanding of it is basically, if you're illegal, you're not getting deported. It's a sanctuary city. Okay, that's it. If you're arrested for anything else, anything other than being illegal, you are going to have the same trial that would be awarded to any American, any person in the country, which gets due process. Okay, everybody gets due process. That's how it works.
Also been arrested
Just
a bunch
don't
of
ask Bill
times
Clinton
for a
that.
bunch of robberies, similar crimes to what we see right here, and even has a criminal conviction, which will come into play a little bit later when we talk about Letitia James' commentary on this. But of course, you will have the defenders of these criminals out there saying, look, these people are desperate. They're just trying to feed their starving families. They're innocent Beba Angel.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not. I don't hear a lot of people saying that. Not anymore. Not really ever. Okay, because number one, it's just not a good argument. Okay, just because you're suffering doesn't mean you should inflict suffering on others to ease your pain. Okay, obviously. But the reason that people bring that up, the reason that they talk about that, is to discuss a more broader subject, which is that of the material conditions of the people committing these crimes, and generally of every American. Okay, we all struggle with our material place on this hierarchy. We all struggle with our own material conditions. Immigrants have this, they suffer from this too, but it's even worse for them because they are often coming from, impoverished communities, war-torn countries, without their family, without their community. No support coming to this country. So that's why we talk about that, okay? It's not like, oh, they're poor and so it's okay and there are big special babies. No, they're just regular people. They're people like you and me, except oftentimes they have an even harder struggle than you and me.
Ladens, and again,
That's the point.
that guy beat up, presumably, his own starving family in that domestic violence case in order to feed his starving family. But obviously, these are giant red flags. Obviously, these people should have been held in custody. They should have been turned over to ICE. But of course, the sanctuary city and sanctuary state laws prevent that from happening. But in addition to that, we also have bail reform that lets domestic abusers, that lets violent stabbers out onto the streets time and time again. So essentially, you have multiple different left-wing progressive laws that end up benefiting and privileging the illegal immigrant over your average everyday citizen. But of course, things got even worse when Letitia James was actually questioned, surprisingly, on CNN about this, because she essentially went into the Democratic Party line that's so absurd and ridiculous. I just have to play it for you, but I want you to hear the lengthy criminal history of both individuals before we get into that particular clip.
I want to ask you about this Border Patrol agent who was shot in New York City over the weekend. 2 undocumented immigrants with final removal orders are in custody for their involvement in this. One person of interest, Miguel Mora, has a criminal history, and I just want to lay this out for our viewers who are not familiar. I know this is a little lengthy, but it's important. And that criminal history includes charges for assault on a pregnant woman and a stabbing charge in January, according to 2 senior law enforcement officials. DHS detailed 3 arrests in the last 2 years in New York City. His alleged accomplice, Christian Ibar Baroa, also entered the country illegally and has a criminal history that includes charges of reckless endangerment and felony grand larceny. He pleaded guilty to petite larceny at the Bronx County Supreme Court in June of this year and was conditionally discharged, according to DHS.
So again,
okay, petite larceny, for those of you that don't know, I can't believe I'm fucking explaining this. Okay, my spoiler alert, my overarching narrative here is that these charges are not that serious, and they're not. Petite larceny is nothing. Okay, that's a basically it's a non-violent misdemeanor. That means it wasn't a violent crime and it's a misdemeanor. Misdemeanors are like little crimes. Okay, larceny is theft. Okay, it's stealing. You steal something. Okay, petite means small, of course. So it probably means he stole something less than, a couple $100 or something. I don't know. It means he could have stolen a candy bar at the gas station, or a bag of chips. Like, we don't know. Or he could have stolen like a fucking MP3 player. Do they still sell those? I don't know. What the fuck can you steal?
While it is important to highlight the fact that the shooter in this particular case was assaulting a pregnant woman, had domestic violence charges related to that, had a stabbing charge, and this other individual had grand larceny and was a repeat thief, I think the most crucial fact right there is the fact that one of them actually pled guilty to a crime.
Kill
so
him!
Is in fact
Kill
a
him!
convicted criminal, even though he was able to plead down to petite larceny, and therefore, if New York City only cared about protecting the people accused of crimes that may totally be innocent, this person should have bare minimum been turned over. But of course, that's not really the case. They actually only turn people over to ICE for very specific crimes, and guess what? Robbing multiple different times ain't one of them, because obviously you have a divine right to rob your neighbors in the city of New York. It's essentially the way of the progressive left to allow you to do so. But Letitia James is going to go into full idiot mode in response to this question, and I really want you to listen to what she says, because I think it's absolutely crucial to the progressive mindset.
Is this a kind of incident where there may be a case where local law enforcement should be coordinating with immigration authorities? Both of them had these removal orders, these final removal orders.
So let me just say, I'm so glad that the officer is doing well.
What do you think she's going to say to that? No. No, they're a sanctuary city. That's the whole point. The whole point is that they don't comply. That's what a fucking sanctuary city is, dog.
And we pray for a speedy recovery. 2, let me also say that it is now time for Congress to enact comprehensive immigration reform. 3, individuals, obviously, who have criminal convictions, obviously, it is the policy of the great state of New York to cooperate with ICE agents.
So there's a couple of things in that answer that we need to break down. So first and foremost, you were just told that one of these individuals absolutely has a criminal conviction.
You said it's the policy to cooperate with ICE agents? Why did she say that? No. Am I stupid?
Policy of the great state of New York to cooperate with ICE agents.
So there's a couple of things in that answer that we need to break down. So first and foremost, you were just told that one of these individuals absolutely has a criminal conviction. He pled guilty to a crime in the Bronx, which is in the
petite larceny.
City of New York, which, by the way, is in the state of New York, and yet he was not turned over to ICE, and yet he was conditionally released by New York City.
Because they're a sanctuary city. Just because you commit petty larceny doesn't mean you get deported. You get sent to the El Salvador death camp. Okay, because New York is like a normal place with normal people.
By New York State,
So they don't
because
want
in
to do
reality,
that.
having a criminal conviction is not enough to remove your sanctuary city or sanctuary state protection. So Letitia James is outright lying right there. She's not telling the truth. You could have turned over 50% of this group of criminals that attacked this Border Patrol agent.
I agree. I don't know why she would say we cooperate with ICE. You don't cooperate with ICE. That's the whole point. And you shouldn't cooperate with ICE. Every city should be a sanctuary city. Unfortunately, it's just a few of them.
But New York decided not to do so due to the sanctuary city and sanctuary state laws. In addition to that, Letitia James says, oh, it's time for Congress to enact comprehensive immigration reform, and then maybe, just maybe, we could talk about what to do with these criminal illegal aliens. Now, if you guys don't know, if you're not aware, comprehensive immigration reform is essentially amnesty. So what Letitia James is saying right here is that if you want illegal immigrant criminals to be removed from the United States of America, the first thing you need to do is legalize them with this amnesty bill, and then maybe, just maybe, Letitia James' office will consider...
No, that's not what she was saying. Okay, if you don't want illegal, undocumented immigrants in this country, the best way to solve that problem is to simply document them. That's it. Just give them the paperwork. That is all you have to do. And then they're documented. And the reason that this is preferable over deporting them is, number one, first and foremost, it's less expensive. Deportation is an expensive process. And that's if they choose not to self-deport. Okay, if they self-deport, then our government's got to pay them $1,000 or whatever. Like, you know, I'm sure they'll do that. I'm sure they will. Famously, the U.S. has never been late on a debt. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. We were talking about how to get rid of illegals. Okay. It's more expensive to deport them. It's also, of course, more cruel to deport them, and it's also worse for the economy. Okay. So the reason I say it's cruel is because deportation is a humiliating experience. Okay, it just is. You're sent to a camp. You have to wait there until they find a country to ship you to. Maybe they find one. Maybe they don't. Maybe you just work there endlessly. You're in permanent detention. They take you from your family. Oftentimes, you can't speak to a lawyer. You were denied access to a lawyer, which would be unconstitutional. In fact, it is unconstitutional, but the Supreme Court refuses to admit that because they are compromised. Just something I keep saying. Okay. Anyway, the third thing I said was, immigrants are generally good for the economy. Especially illegal ones, especially. And the reason why is because they pay taxes. They pay taxes, but they can't participate. They cannot participate in the welfare state. They cannot get welfare. They can't. Generally, they cannot obtain welfare. In New York, I believe that you were able to receive SNAP benefits in some cases as an illegal immigrant, but it just wasn't. It's not a common practice. It's just
Turning over people who beat their wives, who stab people, who rob regular New York citizens, who shoot Border Patrol agents in the face. Maybe they'll consider turning those people over to the federal government after you legalize them, and there will be no way for you to actually engage in any kind of immigration enforcement. Now, again, absolutely absurd and ridiculous, but it's about to get even more ridiculous because essentially Letitia James is going to make the argument that it's okay that this Border Patrol agent was shot in the face because we need people to clean the bathrooms and to clean your properties and to be nannies to your children.
However, individuals who serve you each and every day, who come to this country seeking a better opportunity, individuals fleeing violence, individuals who want the same thing that you and I want, and that is to care for their families, individuals who serve us each and every day. Those are the individuals who need protection, and that's why the state of New York and other Democratic attorneys general are standing up for those families and for those individuals.
Yeah, she's saying she's glad they shot him. Yep. No, I mean, it's I'm kidding, of course. It is entirely disingenuous to try to claim that. Like, you can disagree with her. You can say that she's wrong here. But what she's saying is that this is the justification for the city being a sanctuary city. Okay, not it's not a defense of murder. That's insanity.
Who unfortunately
that's crazy.
are being kidnapped in the middle of the night by masked agents with no insignia, no identification,
That's true.
and taken away from their families. Again, we have no problem with the worst of the worst, but unfortunately, they're focusing on too many innocent
What do you
individuals.
have
So
to say
after
about
Letitia
that?
James says that we need comprehensive immigration reform, i.e. legalizing the illegal immigrants, she then starts talking about the non-criminal illegal aliens, the ones who are here to just work hard and provide for their families, and how crucial it is to protect them. And she even says, look, we're not trying to protect the criminals. People with criminal convictions, you know, like one of these individuals who were involved in this particular crime that were protected by the state and the city of New York, they should be deported. But the real issue is the fact that people at scumbag agencies like Customs and Border Patrol are kidnapping random, everyday, kind-hearted, and wonderful people off of the streets, and in reality, we just can't turn over the criminals that shoot people in the face because we have to protect so badly those people who came to this country illegally that did not commit additional crimes. And of course, one of the most absurd things about this whole fiasco right here is the fact that New York City and New York State and all these sanctuary cities and states protect the criminals is the reason why that you have ICE conducting all these raids in these sanctuary cities as essentially a way to kind of pressure them into, you know, churning over the criminals. But Letitia James is like, well, we can't turn over the illegal immigrant criminals until they're legalized, and thus they can't be turned over. But also think about the people who clean your bathrooms and nanny your children and whatnot. And believe me, that's exactly the angle that she's going with.
Again, we have no problem with the worst of the worst, but unfortunately, they're focusing on too many innocent individuals who work in our farms, in our small businesses, who go to church.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. If an immigrant commits a violent crime, okay, sure. I still think that I still don't think you should deport them. Okay. Simply because it costs a lot of money and it's cruel and blah blah blah. But if anybody that commits a violent, crime, obviously they should be held accountable for it. They should be punished. Okay. Keep in mind, we're talking about a person who shot someone. Okay, killed him. Or maybe not killed him. I don't know yet. But we're talking about an illegal immigrant that shot someone. And this person, actual justice warrior, is saying, oh, he should have been deported a long time ago. He committed these other crimes. Okay, and what are those other crimes? Fucking petty larceny, bro. Petty fucking larceny.
Because voters make a distinction, a lot of them, and the polls show it, between undocumented immigrants without criminal records, people you're talking about, and those who have them, right? Especially in these extreme cases, like we look at in this case in New York City. But to that point, in this case, why should those voters think that this is something other than the system not working? I mean, if you're talking about waiting for comprehensive immigration reform, I've been in Washington for 20 years, and they've been trying for a long time. It doesn't happen, right? So why, in the case of cities taking a step and states taking a step, is this an example where there could be that coordination instead of waiting decades for Congress to act?
So first of all, I do love the fact that this CNN reporter ends up cutting off Letitia James during the course of her ranting with all the stupid progressive talking points that we've heard so much of over the course of the last year. But really, it is absurd for you to say that in order for us to enforce immigration laws, the federal government has to change those laws into something we're already kind of doing at the state and local level. Otherwise, we're just going to ignore it until they make those changes. Again, as the Attorney General of New York, you do not have the authority to demand Congress do X, Y, and Z before you actually turn over these criminal aliens. What you can do at this moment in time is turn those people over, and guess what? Those law-abiding or less criminal illegal aliens, because they still came here illegally and are working under the table, they'll be more protected because you're removing the more violent people that need to be removed from these communities. But Letitia James, not really interested in that. She just wants to deflect. She wants to talk about sad sacks, sorry stories about, oh my God, the people who clean the floors and work in your restaurants and serve you in all these different ways. We have to protect this underclass, because how else are wealthy people like Letitia James supposed to deal with the inconveniences of day-to-day life that they don't actually want to pay American workers in order to deal with?
At the outset, I indicated to you.
Yo,
in fact, New
why
York State and other
everybody
Democrats-
becomes a fucking liberal, dude? Everybody becomes a fucking liberal when it's convenient. Okay, yeah, oh, you're a rich person. You're an evil rich person. Shut the fuck up, man. You don't give a fuck about wealth disparity. Just shut the fuck up about that. The fuck are you talking about? If she makes more money, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the Congress thing, okay? Yes, the state of New York, as a local municipality, has, they have decided that they are not going to cooperate with this federal agency, ICE. They're not doing it. This is years ago when they did this. Okay, because even back then, ICE has always been the fucking secret police, okay? It hasn't changed. It's not new. It's always been like this. Anyway, New York wasn't the only city to do this. It still remains as one of the few that are left. But yeah, there is obviously a something that lies beneath here, which is, New York, the state of New York, is, as an entity, committing a crime, or committing many crimes, by having this policy. Okay, by not turning over undocumented immigrants. That's a crime. That's like not what you're supposed to do, okay, according to the federal government. So anyway, that is why it's not a given that they should just turn these people over, okay? There is precedence that has been set here. They are not cooperating with ICE. That's the fucking precedence. Okay, you want to go in there and arrest all of them? Good luck, okay? Have fun with that. Have fun with that, dude. And I'm not talking about the illegals. I mean, if you want to go in and arrest the state legislators that decided to do this, that voted on this, that are allowing this to happen, they are allowing illegals to stay in the city, then good fucking luck. So, yeah, I all that is to say, I think she is kind of in a position to try to get Congress to capitulate to their demands, okay? I think that, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. They're already breaking the law, man. And I don't blame them. The law is unjust. It's wrong. These people shouldn't be treated like this. It's fucked up. Anyway,
States
let's keep watching.
Cooperate with ICE when it comes to criminal convictions, but when it comes to innocent individuals who serve as your nanny, who clean your home, individuals who are our neighbors, individuals who unfortunately are just trying to make ends meet
both
each
of
and
these
every.
I know that when she says shit like this, it's corny, okay, and actual justice warrior. I need to start calling him AJW. AJW has already said multiple times she's like virtue signaling or whatever. He didn't actually say that, okay, but that was the vibe. While I do think it's kind of corny, it's still true. It's still true. Like, we are talking about a group of people who are the lowest on the rung of the capitalist ladder. Okay, these are the poorest people, working people, in the fucking country. And they do a lot of jobs that the average American has no interest in doing at all. Ever. They are nannies. They are, garbage men. They are bus drivers and we need people to do those jobs. So, I don't know, AJW. You want to go do it?
Individuals had
You
multiple
go
arrests
ham,
after
bro. You go.
deportation
You
orders.
go be
Why
a
are those
bus
not
driver.
opportunities?
And that is why in the state of New York, when it comes to individuals, as you indicated, individuals with criminal convictions, then we cooperate with ICE.
That's what I tell people that say oh, they're taking our jobs. Like, all right, bro, go. You can go get one. You can go get a job if you sell your labor cheap enough. Oh yeah. If you're willing to be paid under the table. And take like a smaller wage. If you're willing to take a wage under the federal minimum wage, you too can go and pick apples for $3 an hour.
But it's
Go
important
ahead,
that we make
man.
a distinction between those individuals with criminal convictions and those individuals, again, who are just trying to make ends meet each and every day.
Again, this interview getting a little bit testy right here. The CNN anchor actually pressing Letitia James on the fact that these people had multiple arrests. Letitia is trying to get around it by saying convictions, convictions, convictions. You can get arrested for beating your pregnant wife, your pregnant girlfriend as many times as you want, but unless we actually convict you of a felony, that's the part that she's leaving out, because, you know, they often let these illegal migrants plead down to misdemeanors because one of them absolutely does have a criminal conviction, then we can end up cooperating as long as there's certain
petty
felony
larceny, and even if it were a worse charge, it would still just be larceny, okay? It's not... What the fuck are you talking about? Petty larceny was never going to be a felony. If you plead down to petty larceny, you were never gonna get a felony. It's so insane.
under certain
these
circumstances,
people.
but
These
otherwise we're
fucking
going to protect
people,
them.
man.
And
They'll
by the way,
say
if you don't
anything.
like that, I'm going to start talking about nannies and people who clean the hotel rooms and whatnot, and all the illegal immigrants that are delivering food to you via DoorDash, because that's the most important thing that we focus on. And we have to make that distinction between the criminal illegal aliens that I don't want to talk about and the otherwise kind of law-abiding illegal aliens who don't commit additional crimes outside of the ones related to them being here illegally. And the funny thing about this is that as Letitia James is saying we have to make those distinctions, she is refusing to make those distinctions. She's being specifically asked about this case, about these criminal migrants, and instead of talking about this case, instead of talking about these criminals, she's like, oh, what about these other people over there? Look over there, CNN reporter, and stop pressing me on this.
What do you mean? She literally... What, do you want her to make shit up that they've done? I don't know what to tell you, man. First of all, she talked about their charges. She specifically said they were charges which were dropped. Okay, or you can gather that they were dropped because they were released. Okay, you don't just charge somebody with a crime and then not follow up on it and then release them fucking randomly. That never happens. That doesn't fucking happen. No, they were charged. They weren't convicted. Only one of them was convicted of a crime which she mentioned, and I'm not going to say what it was again, okay?
And
Actually,
the
I
vast
will.
majority
It
of
was
individuals
petty
who are being
larceny.
secreted and kidnapped at night are
Fucking
individuals
moron.
who, again, are facing civil deportation and not criminal enforcement. It's important that we make a distinction. It's important that individuals understand that individuals are being caught up in these ICE raids. Innocent individuals, students, teachers, small businesses. We all want the same thing, and that is to protect individuals from harm. But unfortunately, what we are seeing is mass ICE agents without any insignia, without any identification, kidnapping innocent individuals that both you and I know.
Again, this is absolute nonsense in every possible way. Every single deportation is a civil matter. It's an administrative procedure. It is not punishment for a crime. The fact that you're protecting people who commit crimes because something civil deportation, what about the students? What about the teachers? What about the nannies? What about the people who clean your homes? What about the DoorDash drivers? It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And the real reason...
So, he's half correct here. Actually, nah, he's fully wrong here, because the claim he just made is that it's a civil matter. No, it's not. And it's not a criminal matter either. It's not any legitimate kind of matter. A deportation is just a cruel act to inflict upon another human. That's it. It's not punishment for a crime. It's not. He's right about that. Okay, despite the fact that illegally entering the country is a crime, deportation isn't punishment for a crime because there's no trial. There's no due process. In order for a punishment to be a punishment on the state and federal level, you have to have a conviction. Okay, the conviction is the punishment. The conviction is bestowed upon you by a judge. Okay, a jury can recommend a particular conviction. Judge has the final say-so. That's how it works, I believe, 99% of the time, maybe 100% of the time. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because deportations, it's not, none of that process is involved with deporting someone. Okay, a civil matter, on the other hand, is a case in a court of law, which is not criminal in nature. Okay, it's typically between two parties where liability is to be assessed. So you have two parties. One of them is claiming damages against the other. They say, give me money. The court decides if there are damages, and then, of course, how much the damages are that were incurred. That is what a civil lawsuit is. How the fuck is a deportation civil? What the fuck about it is civil?
Kind of thing is because what Letitia James is actually saying and reiterating is something that is believed by huge swaths of the progressive movement, which is nobody's illegal on quote-unquote stolen land. These people are just as much American as you, but in reality they think they're better or more entitled to be here than you because they don't give a damn. They have full disregard for the American citizen, for the American system, for our laws, and they think that these people should function as those that are above us. And all these efforts to make the illegal immigrants seem more sympathetic are just a mask for the fact that these people want them here over you. They help their political power. Even though these illegal immigrants do not vote in elections, the fact that they are a population in the United States of America end up bolstering the seats that states like New York and other places that have large immigrant populations end up getting in Congress, and this is the key to their political power. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts.
No, it's not the fucking key to their political power. There aren't enough illegal immigrants for it to fucking matter, okay? We're talking about maybe a few dozen thousands of people, okay, which is nothing compared to the general population of our country, which is, I believe, approaching 400 million at this point. 400 million. That's where we're heading. We got to be past 350 mil by now. All right, it's estimated to be at 343 million. Anyway, that whole idea that immigrants are like, you know, wielding political power or like accruing political power for the state that they reside in is crazy because they are fucking undocumented. You dumb fuck. They're fucking undocumented. They don't count. They don't fucking count, stupid. And even if they do, which I don't think they do, but even if they do, there's just not enough of them for it to fucking matter. I want to also point out that, and they do this a lot, okay? They do it a lot, and they try to say, like, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that, no. He was talking about illegal immigrants, evil illegal immigrants, like they're all the same. Like just a second ago, he was just like, oh yeah, they're all like that. Or just a mask
for the fact that these people want them here over you. They help their political power, even though these illegal immigrants, as those that are better or more entitled to be here than you, because they don't give a damn.
They feel like they're better and more entitled. Yeah, man. I think you're kind of fucking entitled. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. I don't know. Perhaps. I don't know, Chad. It's just, it's disheartening to see stuff like that, you know? We're definitely going to be watching more of that guy, though. I like it a lot. I really do. It's a good time. AJW. He reminds me of that kid from, the Polar Express.
Yeah, you. Do you know what kind of train this is? Do you know what
kind of train this is?
Do ya? Sure, it's a Baldwin 284 S3 class type steam locomotive. The purple shiners! I want all of them.
Ticket, please.
Hey, watch out there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Look at that wise guy punched on my ticket. L.E. What the heck does that mean?
Stop 115.44.
We're heading for the other side of the tracks. It's just another pickup. That's weird. I thought you were supposed to be.
I have to stop the train. I don't know how to stop the train.
He did.
Yeah, this kid's definitely from Jersey. I think actual Justice Warrior is from Jersey, bro. I don't even think he's from New York. I don't know. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe. I don't know. I think he's from Jersey. Look at that wise guy. Look at where that wise guy punched up my ticket.